All right, guys, welcome to the Never Miss podcast. Today, we're going to talk about consistency in your routine, consistency in commission-only sales, and just consistency in general. So, Ryan's been in the industry quite some time, and I'm sure you've had your ups and downs and had times where you weren't as consistent as others and you felt the effects of that, and you've seen a lot of people come in and be consistent versus people come in who can't be consistent. I guess kind of elaborate on it.
I guess so. Whenever we interview, what's one of the biggest fears of people about the job?
The inconsistent pay.
Yeah, is they come in and most people are conditioned to a 9 to 5. You show up, clock in, clock out. You get a check on Friday or Monday or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And so people get used to the routine, and then in commission only sales, people are scared because it's on them. It can be inconsistent. And I guess the fear of the unknown is kind of what stops some people from even getting into the industry. Just think back to whenever you told your parents that you were going to do roofing sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did they say?
Get a real job.
Yeah.
What are the benefits? What's your insurance look like? All this different shit.
Yeah, so even whenever I first got into this, I remember asking the guy, what's the salary? He said no salary. He said, what's the hourly? He said, no hourly. I was like, well, how the hell do I get paid? And he said, it's commission only. So you kill something, you eat something. And even me, I was a little bit scared. And I remember talking to my parents or my mom, and she had her doubts. I remember talking to my wife's parents, and they had their doubts.
Yeah.
Just because there's no guarantees in commission only sales. But I knew that I was willing to consistently put in the effort day in and day out and treat it like a real job. And so I knew if I put in consistent effort, I would get consistent checks.
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know that if I focus on something and consistently work at it, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
At some point.
Especially if someone else has before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's a matter of time and persistence, and I can usually figure stuff out. There's not a whole lot that eludes me in life. But yeah, I feel like the difference between guys. Well, you've seen it too. Some guys come out and they just have this meteoric rise, and they get super excited and they go out there and they're all gung ho because it's new. It's like that honeymoon phase of a job, and they get success.
Yeah.
And then they get super excited, and then they hit their first brick wall, and they get super down on themselves, and they fizzle out real quick, just because it's not new and it's not exciting anymore.
Oh yeah.
Just think back to whenever you first got into a relationship with a girl. Everybody's all excited, that honeymoon phase, and then little things, it starts to wear off, and then little things start to get on your nerves, and so I feel like this industry can be similar to that too. That the guys, from what I've seen, is the guys that usually figure it out super, super quick, and they don't really have a struggle. Those are usually the ones that fall off as well, just because they hit that adversity and they don't know how to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Usually the guys that struggle a little bit at the beginning. Still have success and see glimmers of hope, but maybe just don't figure it out as quickly as some people. Those are usually the ones that stick around.
We've even had people come in and start canvassing or door knocking for us. Maybe they're still in school, or maybe it's a part-time thing, and they're crushing it. They're getting 15, 20 leads in a week.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, well, I think I'm ready for sales. And you or I are sitting back there going, well, it's very different. And you say, all right, well, here's your rope. Don't hang yourself.
Yeah.
And then they realize it's not that instant gratification, and then they end up hanging themselves. I've seen it a bunch.
We even have, just think to moving something, let's say like a big wheel or something along those lines, or pushing a big heavy ball.
Okay.
The hardest part is to get that thing going. But once you get it going, if you just consistently put some pressure on it, it's going to keep rolling.
Yep.
But if you let it stop, then you have to put in all that effort again to get the ball rolling again. And we used to see it a lot, especially on the storm side of this. is that guys would go out and bust their ass for 2 weeks, knock on doors, sign up a whole bunch of deals, start having adjuster meetings and contract signings, and they would quit knocking. And then 30 days in, they're like, shit, I don't have anything else in my pipeline. And it's like a daunting task now that you've got to go back out there and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Whereas if you would have just kept adding, one deal a day by putting in 2 hours of door knocking, it would have been fine.
Yep.
Like we use, another analogy is it's a lot harder to get a fire started than to keep one going.
Yeah.
You put in all this effort, all this prep work and energy to get that fire going. And then if you let it go out, you got to start all over again. It's easier just to add a piece of wood every 2 hours or every hour or whatever that looks like.
Yep.
So just my take on commission only sales is just keep the consistency, right? So just no ups and downs, no peaks and valleys. Just continually put in the amount of effort that got you to where you wanted to be in the beginning. So I would rather a guy go out and put in 2 or 3 hours a day knocking on doors than do 10 hours one day and then nothing the rest of the week.
Oh yeah.
Because that guy, maybe he hits a lick and, has success that one day, but the guy that's continually putting in the effort daily, he has a far better chance of succeeding.
Well, it's the same on the other side of things. If you got a guy that goes and, cranks out 5 or 6 contracts in a week, and then he goes 2 weeks without signing anything, it's like, great, you made 12 to 15 grand that first week, but that was just getting you to catch back up with your bills or whatever it is, and now you just went 2 weeks with nothing.
Yeah.
That's never going to outweigh the guy that goes out and consistently signs 1 to 2 a week, every single week, no matter what.
Yeah, I feel like specifically just because it takes an emotional toll on you, the easiest time to get a deal is after you just got a deal.
Yeah.
Right? You're on cloud 9.
Lead or deal.
Yeah. You can do it again. The guy that, signs up 5 and then takes off 2 weeks with a commission hangover, he doesn't really remember his last victory. He gets a little bit rusty.
Yep.
And I feel like just whenever you're doing things consistently, just think about going to the gym.
Yeah.
If you just worked out, really, really hard one day a week, you're not going to get the same results if you just work out a third as hard
every day,
5 days a week, or every day or whatever that looks like. It's funny, I don't even remember who the guy was, but he was talking about working out, and he says you should never work out to failure, right? Never go 100%, because that's what's going to make you so sore the next day that you can't even play or you can't lift again.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever the number was, you work out to 75% or whatever you feel like your failure point is, so that you can work out again tomorrow and you don't have to take off. New guys, whenever they go to the gym,
oh, if you haven't been in 6 weeks or it's your first time in and you go blast 10 sets of chest on different machines, you ain't going to be able to spread your chest out the next day.
Yeah, dude,
absolutely.
I've done it where you don't work out for 6 months, you go in there and you're feeling good because your muscles are fresh. Then you work out and you can't bend over the next day, you can't even move your arms, I remember my biceps would hurt so bad that I couldn't even stretch my arms out all the way. It's I shouldn't have done that, right? I should have just taken it easy, get back into the routine of things, and I'm gonna see better results. And I feel like guys, if they practice more consistently, they're gonna get the results that they want. I just feel like the emotional toll of the ups and downs is what usually makes people weed themselves out of this industry or just even sales in general. It's just too much for them to bear the high highs and then the low lows.
Yeah.
The guy that is just consistently doing well, he's going to be able to stick it out versus the guy that does fantastic and then terrible.
Well, look at people coming in. What do we get in this industry a lot? We get a lot of people coming in that are in dire financial straits and need money yesterday, right? And those people will come in, they'll learn, they'll work hard in training, and you have 2 different routes at that point. You have that person that's going to go make the money, consistently make the money, and start to financially get ahead by just signing 1 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
You're going to make multiple grand every single week if you're just consistent. And then you're going to have that guy that goes out of the gate the same speed, signs up maybe a couple extra deals, and then starts to taper off.
Yeah.
And then the bills stack up again because every commission check he just got goes to what he should have been paying originally.
Sure.
And then you end up just getting even and then backing off, getting even and backing off. And I've seen it so many times. You look at the best salesmen that we've trained, the best salesmen that we've had working for us. Who are they? The guys that can consistently go out and sell 1-2 a week every single week.
Yeah.
And it makes our job easier because we're able to be like, all right, hey, it's Thursday. We know he's at least going to get another deal by the end of the week.
Yeah.
And it just helps us. But those are the people that are able to financially create a difference in this industry. And if you can consistently do 1 or 2 a week, whether it's on the doors, consistently set 5 or 6 leads a week, and then you sign 1 or 2 deals a week, you're the guy that can look at yourself and say, okay, I've consistently done this. Now, how can I become more efficient and turn this 1 or 2 a week into 3 or 4 a week? How can I create more of that financial freedom?
Yeah. After you establish consistency, then it's figuring out efficiency.
Yep. Yeah. It's fine tuning those skills.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't take twice as much effort to get twice the results. It's just figuring out how do I have a higher close rate. How do I have a higher conversion rate of doors to leads and then leads to closing, and it's just figuring out the metrics and fine tuning your skill set.
I'd say to be successful at this commission-only sales, or I guess any commission-only sales role, a lot of it's going to be just your own self-discipline and accountability.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's going to be the determining factor of whether you achieve financial freedom doing this or you don't. If you're able to go to work when you don't feel like it, go to work after you receive a $25,000 check in 1 week, if you're that guy that can still go out and produce and work just as hard, then you're the guy that'll win. You're the guy that's going to create, a lifestyle out of this.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's very rare for someone who's maybe, we got a lot of guys that come in and they've only made 50 to 70 grand in a full year.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting half of that in a month, and they look at that and they're like, oh my gosh. And they'll start pumping the brakes and be like, oh, I'm good. I'm good.
They've never seen that much money in their account for their entire life.
But it's same as the lottery winners, right? I think you've said this before. It's like
90% of them are bankrupt within 5 years of winning multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah, they've never had more than 50 grand in an account, and they look in it and it's got 50 million, and it's like, what the hell do I do with all this?
Right.
So that's partially on us to do financial training and things like that, of course, but I'd say that accountability and just willingness to go out there and work no matter how you feel or how much or how little money you have, that's going to be the determining factor of whether this works or not.
Yeah, so you played baseball. Imagine if you had, a pitcher on your team, or I guess even just another fielder that you never know, this guy's either going to come out and throw, 20 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And, just y'all are he's going to pitch a shutout. Or he could throw fucking 50 balls in a row and just walk everyone, and the coach doesn't know what he's going to get out of that guy.
Yeah.
Do you want that guy that has the potential to be fantastic, but he also has a chance to be awful, and you just don't know what you're going to get? Or do you want the guy, this guy can throw 110, or he's going to walk everybody? Or do you want the guy that can consistently throw 92 and throw strikes?
I laugh because that's so fucking real.
Yeah.
You get those guys, and it's like, all right, we're either going to crush this or we're going to be awful today because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. You want the guy that's going to consistently throw maybe 10 miles an hour, 10, 12 miles an hour less on the mound, but he can paint the corners, he can pinpoint where he wants it, he's a little more consistent. Yeah, absolutely.
I guarantee you that there's guys out there that can throw over 100 miles an hour, but not straight.
Yeah.
And they're not in the major leagues. And then there's guys that throw 90 that are in the major leagues because they have better control and they're consistent.
Yeah.
There's just peace that comes with consistency, but it does take the discipline and all of that to be consistent.
But hey, look at the flip side. That guy that throws 100, that's a lot of God given. You can teach the control.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That guy that only throws 91, it's really hard to get that guy that throws 91 to throw 101.
Yeah, I agree. But on the same token, a guy that's just a natural salesman, if he's willing to dial it in and become consistent, that guy has better potential than the guy that's just an awful salesman but is willing to work hard.
Yeah.
It's sometimes working hard isn't enough. And that's the hard part. How many times have I told you, I hate letting that guy go? The one that's just he's willing to show up every day, always has a good attitude, wants to work, but just can't sell a deal to save his life. It's man, I feel like I have to look out for that guy and say, look, man, you're just not going to be able to figure this out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? I can coach you all I want, but if you don't follow the instructions and implement this stuff, there's nothing I can do for you.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I feel like, if you're going to break down, surviving commission-only sales, it's got to be accountability, it's got to be consistency, like what we're talking about today, and it's just got to be the ability to do what you want to do when you don't, or need to do when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And if you can find a guy that does that, you're right, work ethic isn't even on the list. You know what I'm saying? We can give you firm KPIs and you're either going to hit them or you won't.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to be accountable. You have to be consistent with your efforts.
Yeah, I mean, we've had guys that hit the metrics and hit the KPIs, but don't close deals.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's just basically they're checking off a box. Yep, I knocked 250 doors this week. Yep, I did X. Yep, I did, Y.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but just because you go through the motions doesn't mean that you're going to find success with it.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's a great point. It's a great point. Getting into this industry, I've seen so many people come in and think it's going to be all, rainbows and roses and they just think, no, knocking on doors isn't that hard and maybe they find that success knocking on doors. But you're right. Just because they get that instant success, maintaining that consistency is the most important part. And it's the same with every area of your life, how hard is it? What time do you wake up every morning? Between 3 and 4?
Yeah, 4:30.
Okay, but on Sundays, do you sleep till 9?
No.
Because it would make Monday a hell of a lot harder, right?
Yeah.
Just consistently do what you need to do.
Even on vacation.
Yeah, there you go.
People think I'm weird because I'll wake up at 5:30 on vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that is somewhat sleeping in, and that's a
Right.
compromise. But yeah, if I sleep till 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, then it makes whenever I come home that much harder. 'Cause I
Oh,
have
it
to
makes
get
it
back
so
into
much
the
harder.
routine.
Yes.
So it's easier just to keep a routine rather than start and stop it.
Even think of it applies to almost anything in life, right? Eating habits. If you, right now, you eat relatively healthy, I eat relatively healthy to an extent, but let's say you just started filling your diet with McDonald's and Whataburger and all this stuff, your body's going to go into shock. You're going to reject it. You're going to feel bad and all this other stuff. It's like, because that's not consistently what you're eating, but you would acclimate to that if you consistently did it.
Yeah.
So whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, if you do it consistently, it's going to become your reality, you know?
That's true.
Man, that's just, it's such a crucial thing in this industry to be consistent, It really, really is. You look at a guy like, one of our new guys, Jacob, coming in, he signs, 2 or 3 deals his first week, and here we are, second week, it's like, dude, just get your 1 or 2. Just get your 1 or 2. Because those 2 or 3, we're getting him financially ahead, we're trying to get him financially caught up, and then the 2 or 3 this week would get you financially ahead. If you don't sign in, if you signed all 3 and then none this week, guess what? You're right back to ground zero. All this studying, all this work you did, all the coming in the office extra, coming in early, staying in late, that's great. It got you those 3, but that should be a testament to, okay, I have to go get 2 or 3 more next week.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 more the following week.
Yeah, once again, when we tell guys, just focus on get 1 a week, get that one in your pipeline, consistently 1,
Yeah.
and then try and add another one.
Yep.
Just make sure you get your 1, and then you can start going for 2.
Yep. Which is more money than most of these guys have made.
Yeah.
Just get your 1 and then go for 2. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, all right. Any final thoughts?
No.
All right. Well, I'm good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.